AI behind the counter, how artificial intelligence is transforming restaurants and the food industry. If you've eaten at a fast food restaurant, ordered delivery, or grabbed groceries from a major supermarket in the last couple of years, there's a decent chance AI had something to do with that experience, and you had no idea. That's not a bad thing necessarily, but it is something worth understanding, because the food industry is changing fast, and the changes are going to affect what you eat, what things cost, and what food jobs look like in the years ahead. Let's walk through what's actually happening. Start with restaurants, not just the big chains, but restaurants in general. One of the biggest challenges any restaurant faces is food waste. A restaurant that buys too much of an ingredient and doesn't use it before it spoils is literally throwing money out the door. Multiply that by every restaurant in the country, and you're talking about a staggering amount of wasted food and wasted money. AI is starting to solve this in a practical way. Predictive systems can now analyze a restaurant's past sales data, cross-reference it with local events, weather forecasts, and even social media trends, and tell the kitchen how much of each ingredient to order for the week. Not a rough guess, a data-driven estimate that gets more accurate over time. This means less waste, lower costs, and in theory, savings that can be passed along to customers. In practice, the industry is still figuring out how to do that last part, but the operational savings are real, and they're already happening. Then there's the professional kitchen itself. Here's something most people don't think about. Inventing a new dish at a high level is actually a complex, time-consuming process. Professional chefs spend years developing intuition for which flavors work together, which textures complement each other, which combinations feel familiar enough to be comforting but surprising enough to be interesting. AI is now being used as a creative tool in that process, not to replace the chef, but to act as a kind of research assistant that has analyzed millions of flavor combinations and can surface unexpected pairings that a human chef might not have considered. Chefs are then taking those AI-generated suggestions and applying their own skill, taste, and judgment to turn them into actual dishes. This is happening in high-end restaurants, in food product development labs, and in the test kitchens of large food brands. The result isn't AI food, it's human food, with an AI research partner that runs 24 hours a day and never forgets anything it's learned. Now let's talk about something even closer to everyday life: the grocery store and the supply chain that fills it. When a food product gets recalled for contamination, the current process of tracing where it came from can take days or even weeks. During that time, people are still buying and eating potentially unsafe food. AI-powered traceability systems are changing this by analyzing data from every step of the supply chain, from the farm to the processing facility, to the distribution center to the store shelf. AI can now identify the source of a contamination issue in hours instead of weeks. That's not a minor improvement. That's the difference between a health crisis that affects hundreds of people and one that gets stopped before it spreads. For regular consumers, this means a measurably safer food supply, even if you never interact directly with the technology. Let's talk about the pros of all this. The biggest pro for everyday people is that a more efficient food industry tends to mean more consistent food prices and better food safety. When restaurants waste less, when supply chains are smarter, when contamination gets caught faster, those are real benefits that filter down to the person buying groceries on a Wednesday evening. Another pro is that AI is helping the industry reduce its environmental footprint. Food production is one of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions globally. When AI helps farmers use water and fertilizer more precisely, when it helps distributors optimize delivery routes to cut fuel use, when it reduces the mountains of food that get thrown away before they ever reach a consumer, those are meaningful environmental wins. A third pro is quality consistency. One of the frustrating things about dining out is that the same dish can be great one visit and mediocre the next, depending on who was in the kitchen that day. AI monitoring systems in professional kitchens help maintain consistency in cooking temperatures, timing, and portioning, so the experience is more reliable. Now the cons, and again, these are real. The first con that affects working people most directly is the question of jobs. Automation in food service, AI-powered ordering kiosks, robotic food prep stations, automated inventory systems does reduce the need for certain types of labor. That's not a hypothetical. It's already happening. For people who work in food service, especially in entry-level and repetitive roles, this is a genuine concern that deserves honest acknowledgement rather than reassurance. The second con is that the benefits of AI in the food industry are not evenly distributed. Large restaurant chains and big food corporations have the capital to invest in these systems. Small, independently owned restaurants generally don't. This creates a situation where big players get even more efficient and competitive, while small local spots are left behind, which could accelerate the consolidation of the restaurant industry in ways that are bad for the character and variety of local food culture. The third con is the black box problem. When an AI system is recommending what a restaurant should order or suggesting how food should be priced, the people running the restaurant don't always understand exactly why the system is making those recommendations. That lack of transparency can lead to decisions that look good on a spreadsheet but miss something important that a human with experience in the business would have caught. So what does this mean for you as a regular person who just wants to eat well and spend reasonably? It means the food landscape around you is shifting in ways that create both genuine benefits and real risks. The benefits, safer food, less waste, more consistency, are real and worth recognizing. The risks, job displacement, industry consolidation, reduced local variety, are also real and worth paying attention to. Being an informed consumer matters more than it used to. Supporting local restaurants when you can, understanding where your food comes from, and paying attention to how the food industry is evolving all matter. In our next video, we're going to bring this all the way back to you personally. We're going to talk about what it actually looks like for a regular working person to start using AI to improve their own nutrition, step by step, without spending a lot of money and without needing any special knowledge to get started. Don't miss that one.